proud of our guys. I thought physically Northwestern played exactly how we thought they would. Extremely physical, really coming at us in the post traps and aggressive in the ball screens, and we didn't respond to it early. That once we turned that around, we were much better. Got to the foul line, got a higher percentage shots, but knowing it's going to be a lower possession game and extremely physical, it's a typical Big Ten grinder. So obviously guys that scored did a great job, but I thought Chucky Hepburn, the way he's sacrificed, maybe individual scoring for how he's led this team and how he's taken, other teams' perimeter players and done a terrific job. I mean, he really made Boo Buie work today to have 22 shots to get 22 points, and even that last couple possessions, he was in a full sprint and does just a great job of commanding the point of our defense and what we do. So, again, another good team win, and looking forward to get tomorrow off because we have to do that NCAA hour schedule is hit, but we need it. I think a good time to get a little rest and then prep for we'll get a one-day prep for Penn State on Monday and play there on Tuesday. Questions?
Nice harvest, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
You've been asked ad nauseum about the difference between last year's team and this year's team.
Right.
But does this game against this team, the way they beat you last year versus today, show the differences?
Yeah, I think they play. It's hard to get separation on them because of how they play, and rightfully so. I mean, Chris understands what it takes to win in this league, and you have to guard extremely well. You have to be physical. You have to make good decisions with the ball. You have to get good shots. You can't waste possessions, and you flip that. You can't do that against them either. So, but I thought there was several, probably 4 really game-defining plays there late. We got on the floor for a couple loose balls. Klesmit got one. We got a jump ball. A couple on our offensive end. Crowell and whoever else got their hand on offensive rebounds and tipped them back out, and we were able to extend the possession. So those extra effort plays, I think, are huge. And then, we're able to close the door down the stretch. AJ made some plays when we put the ball in his hands, and then we go 14 for 15 from the foul line, which with how they play, you have to, kind of flip that physicalness against them and get to the free throw line and convert when you get there. And I thought we did a better job once we settled down after the first 8-9 minutes of the first half. We turned the ball over a lot. I think a lot of that was due to just them, and a credit to them how they kind of put us on our heels. And second half of that we were better with only 3 turnovers, and it seemed like they all 3 happened right in a row. But I thought we calmed down and settled down after the first media timeout or so.
Nick.
Hey, Greg. You've been after kind of a scoring day like he had. Max just kind of echoed what you said post-game Wednesday, just talking about, I don't care how many minutes or seconds I get. It's about how the Badgers do in the end. Just what type of pride do you take in hearing that as a coach, and how does it make this team so difficult and highly successful going forward when that is the mentality?
Well, it means they've bought in and committed to each other, and you look at Max, obviously his numbers jump off the stat sheet, but I thought, you go down to the guys that played very little. Kamari McGee has been under the weather to, the last day or so, or since last night. He gutted it out to be able to play. I thought Marcus Ilver and Connor, even though it was a short stint, they gave us good minutes and contributed when they were in there. So it's a mark of a really good team when you can have different guys, different nights, show up and lead us from a scoring standpoint. But to hear that the guys are saying that, it's good. That means they've bought in, and they know. They understand what it takes to be and to get to where they want to go to, and they have to have that together mindset in order for that to happen.
Go ahead.
Hey, Greg. So Bowie only had 15 first half points, and then you guys held him to 7 in the second half. What halftime adjustments did you make to limit him to just those numbers?
I mean, Chucky, like I mentioned at the outset, Chucky's work on him. He made him work every possession. He was picking him up. He was denying him the ball at times when he did give it up. And I think the one time when he got loose, we ended up, I think, did a switch that we shouldn't have. in the second half, and I'll go through the tape, I'm sure, and find a few things. But he just constantly kept pressure on him, and we're constantly with him and making him really have to work to get shots. And like I said, that's a credit to Chucky for making that commitment to know we knew we were going to have our hands full with him, with Bowie. So it was going to take a tremendous effort, which Chucky gave us.
In the back, Coach.
Greg, going off of that too, Chucky seemed to be the catalyst from the assist column, but this is also the 8th straight game that your team has collected double digits in assists. What does it say about the selfless play, trying to find that right shot and maybe getting off that extra pass?
Yeah, I mean, specifically against this team, against Northwestern, with how they hedge ball screens and make that player make a decision. Same thing with the post trapping, in terms of how they make. You're going to have to make the extra pass. And I thought we did some good things of moving the ball. I thought we had good looks even in the first half that didn't go down. But that unselfishness and willing to share the ball is key. And they know, again, much like the mindset we've talked about, that's what makes us good, because we are unselfish and we have a lot of guys that can score, but you have to give yourself to the team, and this group has done that.
Michael?
You kind of alluded to this, and Chris mentioned that, they weren't really letting you guys get into the offensive, sets that you were wanting to get into, but does this team just have more individual playmakers that can kind of make something out of nothing in those sort of moments?
Yeah, I think maturity helps us, other than that little stretch where we turned the ball over in the second half, it was a 2-point game or whatever. I think our maturity is a big part of that. If they take something away, we can go to what's next. And again, with their switching and stuff, I didn't think we made the best decisions early, where the ball should have went. But that, like I said, the physicalness and the switching that caused us maybe to be a little hesitant early. And then when you throw it to the other team or throw it out of bounds, you become a little more hesitant. So I thought, once we were able to, guys made plays off the bounce, and that was, John got in there, Max got to the rim, Chucky got in there and found some guys. AJ obviously was able to get to the rim and make plays, and you have to do that if they're gonna, commit to sticking with their offensive player. Eventually, you're gonna have to break them down and make a play, and that's where it helps to have guys, multiple guys, that can put the. Connor did it. They took him off the 3-point line and he ripped and drove it for a layup. So you have to, like I said, read what they're doing and counter and make the next best play.
Nick, then Jeff.
Greg, earlier Max and AJ were asked about kind of the late shots that they made in crunch time, and they talked about kind of going against each other one-on-one, pushing each other a lot last offseason. I know you've talked about, it was obvious, or you said something like that, who kind of those top 5 guys were leading up to the season. How did those two specifically kind of push each other that you were able to see, and maybe going back and forth a little bit?
Yeah, they pair up. I don't see what they do when I'm obviously not here, and they're in the gym a lot on their own. So, obviously in the off season, a tremendous amount. But they're both competitors in different ways. Max, obviously you can hear his voice; he's a little more vocal. AJ's not as vocal, but both are fiercely competitive. So whether it's practice drills and we end up in some one-on-one situations, and obviously that's early in the year, they both. I think thrive in those moments. They both like those moments, those winning time moments to be able to close games out, and and obviously it always looks good when the ball goes in. But I thought AJ made some extremely tough shots, but you have to when things are on the line. We had a guy here 2 years ago that could make tough shots too when things were on the line, and the willingness to want that. It's one thing to be able to do it, but the willingness when the lights are on and the pressure's on, that's good that we have multiple guys that can deliver.
Jeff, go ahead.
Greg, on Chucky, if I remember correctly, when he was a freshman, as the season went on, you guys told him, hunt for your shot more, be more assertive offensively. Last year, you had to take on a bigger shooting load. This year, it's completely different. What does it say about his ability to kind of mold his game, to whatever the team needs?
Yeah, it speaks volumes to his unselfishness. And then here's the other thing to keep in mind too, Jeff. They're committing their best perimeter defender to him. So he's saying, okay, now I've got Klesmet and Storr and Wall, and then here comes Blackwell and Esijan. So by him, his willingness to sacrifice for the team and maybe just distribute a little bit more, but also at the same time, he's making their best defender work if they choose to do that. Most teams have done that. They know that Chucky still can score, and there'll be a point in time where he'll be able to and need to and be more aggressive. But when other guys, he reads the situation really well. I think he has a really good feel for how to command a team. His suggestions on calls and timeouts have grown in terms of him understanding what he wants and what we need to attack and how we need to attack. So just like I said, just a growth into what I think is one of the best, if not the best, point guard when you take all things that go into winning and leading a team in this league. I wouldn't trade him for anybody.
Michael?
Johnny Davis's name was thrown around talking about AJ coming into the year. I guess with all he's kind of grown, on the ball with his ball handling, do you consider that potentially a good comparison for him?
They're different in some ways, similar in others. I mean, I don't know. I want AJ to be the best version of himself, and he's got a long ways to go yet. I've said it many times. I know everybody is wowed by what he can do. I see what he can't do yet and what he still needs to be able to do, and that's the exciting part, is that he's made an impact, but he's still got a lot of things he's got to continue to get better at, to help us and to, help his future whenever that may be. So I think just trying, and that's one of the primary reasons why he chose to come here. He knew he was going to be committed to getting coached and learning and growing, and he's bought in and takes the coaching. And there were times today I wasn't happy early with him, but he responded, and that's the mark of a player that, like I said, understands. He's learning what winning entails and what it encompasses and what you have to do to win at a high level, at this level, with this team. So like I said, there's a lot of good things that he's done, but I see all the things that he can get better at, and that's my job, to keep pushing him towards those.
Let's have two more for Coach in the back.
Greg, balancing staying the course but also patting yourself on the back, what does it say to you that this group is 5-0 to start off Big Ten play?
They understand, my message the last couple days is don't let success change you. So how we prepare, how we approach off days, how they utilize this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow, all those things go into how you make sure you stay the course. And I've used a lot of quotes, different things. Yesterday I went on a rant about Nick Saban, just how his messaging over the years I've always felt was point on, and obviously everybody's regurgitating it now because of his retirement. But just those things. It's as I told him yesterday, it's not easy. It's not. It should be hard, and it has to be hard. You don't have a lot of choices. That's one of Nick's saying. You really don't have a choice. How good do you want to be? And are you willing to commit and stay disciplined and stay focused on that path? And if you have a little success, you can't change what got you there. You have to do more of whatever it was that got you there. And so they get constant reminders about not being content, not being complacent. And I think we have a good leadership within the locker room that they're hungry. The older guys are hungry for more, and but they understand, experiences on the court from last year have helped us, but also they have a feeling of unfulfillment, from last year. Like, we got something to prove, and that's the edge I want them to keep. I want them to have an edge, and if they're upset with me once in a while, good, that's fine. I'll trade that for them keeping themselves together and keep pushing and keep challenging themselves for more, because in the end they'll appreciate putting everything into this journey.
Coach, you talked about Chucky's defensive performance,
Right.
But Barry and Langborg combined for 14 points and only made 1 3. How are your other guards kind of able to make their life difficult, and how much of a priority is that?
Yeah. I mean, that was a big priority. We faced in the last 2 games really good shooters in Tamanaga last Saturday and Jamison Battle Wednesday at Ohio State. So there's a lot of comparisons in terms of specifically with Barry. I think he's really improved his game. Shooting at 40-some% from 3, and Langborg has given them another perimeter threat. So, it was we can't fall asleep. If you do, you're going to be behind on a screen, you crash into a screen. So it was really about our rules and how we teach and implement our defensive system, and then there's tweaks based on scouting reports and individuals. But it was an alertness game is one of the things we use. You have to be on high alert all the time, because if you relax, they're gonna either get you back door, they'll get you, off a screen for a three. I mean, the one Barry did get that hit off the rim and off the top of the backboard and went in, we got a little behind on a little out of bounds. I think they ran it off an out of bounds play. So just be a little behind on the chase. But by and large, I thought a pretty good job of not violating rules and sticking to how we planned to approach it.